Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome. Today is, what did I say it was when I typed that out? It's Tuesday. It is, I think, no, it's, oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing. It's the 27th. I put the wrong date in. Welcome. Today is Tuesday, September 27th, 2022. My name is Jeremy, and this is my first cup. See, this is what happens when, you do all this stuff before you have coffee and wake up. Good morning to Mark and Nathan and Jenny and Brian and all the rest of you, whether you're watching live later or listening. Thanks for coming by. Those of you watching, do you see anything different? Is there something different perhaps that you might see? I wonder if you notice. How observant are you? It's like a Where's Waldo, but much easier. Let's see what you can find. There are, let's call it two things that are different this morning. Good morning, Dennis. I don't need that. So today, what are we talking about? I don't know. Brian notices the plant. This is one of the things. Yes, there's a plant in the shop this morning. Mark also and Jenny see the plant. There's something else. Brian says sitting location. Nope, this is the same spot that I always sit in. Unless we're, on location. The hoodie is definitely not different. I wear a hoodie almost every morning. Not the lights. Here, I'll help you guys. What's been over there from for almost 2 years? For those of you listening rather than watching, the bottles are gone. If you've never watched the show, I have shelves to my left, and that was my liquor cabinet, essentially. It wasn't a cabinet, but it's where the liquor bottles went. I've rearranged things. There's now a proper bar over there, and so the bottles are on the shelving over there, and the books are over here. Mark says, not fair, wasn't in the shot. Absolutely was in the shot. In fact, the shot that we had, I think, was about here. So the books are definitely there. I'm going to center myself a little bit more, though. Well, how was your Monday? How'd it go? What'd you do? I was exhausted. I was still exhausted for the weekend from the dry run for the teacher training that Craig and I conducted on Sunday. I was in bed before 8. Not ashamed to admit it. I slept. And that was after taking a 90-minute nap during the day. I woke up from my nap and I felt better. I did the work that I absolutely needed to do. And I made dinner and meal prepped for the rest of the week. And I was just so tired. I was like, I'm not going to the gym. I could just sit here and just waste time watching TV, but I'm tired, so I'm just going to go to bed. So I went to bed, and it was great. But I want to know what you guys did. What'd you do Monday? Did you check out the episode of Martial Arts Radio with Jerry Figiani? I'm recording 4 more episodes today. Some of you are in the Patreon, and you know the names I am recording. That's a weird way to say that. You know the names of some of the people I am recording with. There we go. That's a better way to say that, Jeremy. The first person I'm recording with today at 9 o'clock. I mean, we're leading off with one of the biggest names we've ever had on the show, but not because they're a martial artist. It's a big name for other reasons. Who are you talking about, Jeremy? I don't know. If you want to know, you've got to be in the Patreon. There are very few things that we hold back, and that's something we've always held back. But we tell Patreon. Jenny Went to the beach yesterday. That's awesome. I hope you had a good time with your toes in the sand. Zed says, I took 2 awesome classes with Tashi Mark after work. Also great. I bet those were fun. So, did I do anything else? Let's see. I don't even think I left the house. I didn't go to the mailbox. That's a weird day for me. I'm usually much more out and about, but it didn't happen, and that's okay. Still relocating plants now that I've brought all of my plants back inside. Yeah. So today, that's pretty much all I'm doing is recording 4 episodes. And I'm going to get out of here once I'm done and go pick up some heavy things because I'm going to have to move once I'm done with that. And in between episodes, I will probably just sit and compose myself and mentally prepare for the next one because 4 in a day is a lot. 4 is a lot, but it works better than when I used to do them pretty much anytime. Because quite often after 1 or 2, I can't do much else. I'm so dialed in on interviews that to do something non-interview just takes a while for me to get out of that mode. Jenny says, I had such a strange day as I got my toes in the sand and worked up a nice sweat doing forms and yoga at the beach. Then I drove home and enjoyed the beginnings of the fall foliage colors. Yesterday was a really nice day. I did step outside briefly and enjoy that it was warm. I had a couple windows open. It was like 65 in the back porch area here. It was probably closer to 70, maybe even a little warmer, which is nice. It creates almost a little thermal effect, and I can open the patio door and it lets warm air in, whereas the other 3 sides of the house would not have warm air coming in. It's interesting. And she adds on, in case it wasn't clear, I did enjoy having my toes in the sand, and there were so many dogs too. How can you go wrong with dogs? I think that's it. So if you have anything else that you want to chime in with that you did yesterday or looking forward to today, drop it in the chat. I will read it. We'll talk about it if it's warrants talking about, or congratulate you or cheer you on or whatever is appropriate. Frank did send over some things, and we'll go there first. And thank you and shout out as always to Frank for all the work he does on this show, and to Josh for our theme music. And we'll see where this takes us. And if it doesn't take us to the end, then we'll see where we go from there. Pressing buttons. All right. Come on. Switch. Nope, that one. There we go. And Frank says, Jeremy, believe it or not, according to daysoftheyear.com, today is Morning Show Hosts Day. I didn't know we got our own day. We get our own day. Go us. How many of the morning shows are actually recorded in the morning, live? I guess most of them. It's the late shows that are recorded in the afternoon. Most of those are done earlier in the day. But the morning shows. When you started this show, what did you find most challenging about it? And is it still challenging today? I think the biggest thing I found challenging was the ability to just kind of go, to ramble, to think of things to say while not being awake. If I was awake and I had a topic, it was fine. But the whole premise of this show was I didn't drink any coffee before we started the show. And I think I've told you guys, I've only once accidentally taken a sip of coffee before I started the show. So it forced my brain to learn how to function without caffeine. It forced me to wake up and be alert and the ability to put words together. So that was the most challenging thing early on. It is not nearly as challenging today. Second place goes to how do you do this show, which is kind of rooted in audience engagement when the audience doesn't show up? I had to start the show before the audience would show up. But there were plenty of days where nobody showed up. Like anything else, it grows, and we're slowly growing. I see those numbers still. We've had days that we're getting into the upper teens for live viewers, which no, that's not a lot of people, but for a show at 6:30 in the morning Eastern time, when we're already eliminating pretty much the other three time zones, most people aren't getting up at 6:30 even on the East Coast. But you look at the other time zones, they're even less likely. And then you think about the folks that join us from international settings. It's not really morning for them. It's lunch for some of those folks in Europe, like Gad or Daniel, who with his new job isn't with us. But when those guys used to come, yeah, it wasn't even close to morning for them. Well, early morning. Is it still challenging? Yes, but not even close to as much. I still have to be intentional and thoughtful as I'm putting words together. And I've developed some tricks like that one right there, where I pause and it gives me a little bit of space to think about what I'm going to say next. It's not much time, but it's something. And there's also been an interesting bit of carryover in this show to martial arts radio, in that my ability to say words, to give myself space to come up with something else to think about, pterodactyl, right, is something that I can carry over to martial arts radio. What I was just doing there, I was saying things that required so little energy and effort to make you think I was carrying the conversation forward, giving you something else to listen to, that I could come up with something to say afterwards. Stegosaurus. It's something I use all the time on martial arts radio. If you listen to uncut episodes of early episodes, you would hear me, especially in the very early days, tell the guest, okay, I'm thinking about how we're going to transition to the next question or the next topic. I don't do that anymore. I rarely have to do that anymore. Sometimes the guest will give me something that we just can't follow any further. And it kind of throws me out of my shoes. I'm just like, I don't know where to go with this. And I will tell them that, but it's so rare. It's 1 out of 30, 1 out of 20. It's uncommon. So, yeah. Thanks, Dennis. Dennis says, go, Jeremy. It's morning host day. And I see like a confetti emoji. There's another one that it's not showing me, which is a bummer. What do you find most rewarding about this show for you personally? Easy. This show has furthered the depth of friendship that I have with a number of people. There are people who started showing up that didn't really know me that well, that got to know me by watching this show. And it makes it easier to build a stronger friendship with them. It can be a little unbalanced, and there is some challenge in there. When somebody gets 2.5 hours a week, 2.5 hours a week of me, and I get a few typed words from them, but it's still a place we can build from, and that's fun. I think the other thing that's been really helpful is for the folks on the team who join First Cup most mornings or every morning, they know what's going on. It's an opportunity. It's kind of a loose team meeting in that I can tell them what's going on, what I'm doing. I can hint at things, and it helps keep them informed as to what's going on with the team. There's a bunch of us on the team, and we only have monthly meetings. So, yeah. And the last question, if it wasn't for First Cup, what time do you think you would get up in the morning? I'm trying to remember, because we're going back years. We're going back, is it 4 years yet? It's got to be close. Jeremy, don't press that button. Press this button. I think I used to get up about 6:30. So I'm up about 45 minutes earlier. And then that's kind of in my brain that's what I used to do. I used to get up at 6:30 because I considered 8 o'clock sort of the time to start functioning. So it gave me 90 minutes to take a shower, eat breakfast, and have coffee. Lou says, we'd rather have a coffee with you in person, but man, it's a long drive. Well, maybe we can make that happen one day, my friend. You know, I got here. This is one of my favorite things about First Cup. I'm going to throw this out. It doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it's an idea that's been percolating in the back of my head. And because I know my audience, Mark says he'd get up at noon. I can pose this to you because I know enough of you are coming to Free Training Day Northeast. What if we did a special First Cup Saturday morning at the hotel? I would just use my phone. Those of you who typically show up could be there. And, we've done a couple episodes with guest hosts. This would probably be too many people, but we could have a live audience in the breakfast room and do that there. If you guys think that would be fun and you'd be willing to show up, and I think Andrew and I need to be there at 8. I don't know. We'll maybe even a little earlier. So it would be early. No, we've got to be there earlier than that. We would have to do this at 6:30. So if you want to do that, just think about it and let me know. Jenny's got a big yes. Okay. I think it might be fun. I think since so many people are going to be in the hotel together, it could be a cool way to get everything kind of spark the day, I guess. And I'm going to be up anyway. So, it's not. Dennis says I'm in. Mark says works for me. The other thing that I want to say is I cannot overstate how important Frank has been to this show. If you look at, and you can look at it from one to the next, when he started contributing topics to talk about, it changed everything. Because the thing that I struggled with the most was, what are we going to talk about? I can relate just about anything back to martial arts. But he has a gift for, what fun. Take care, Andy. Sounds like Andy's in. I can relate anything back to martial arts, but it doesn't mean that it's going to be varied enough to be exciting. Frank's got a way of doing that. And now we've got enough time and working together that he knows what I can work with. And so this is a great example. We ended up with some good stuff out of that. And if you want a really solid like martial arts training relation to today's subject, it's about what makes First Cup successful. It's consistent. It's the same format show, same time, 5 days a week. You could draw a correlation with training. It's something I wasn't very good at, but I trusted I would get better. You can draw a correlation with training. And then I think the thing to consider that few of us would really think about, most of us train under ideal circumstances. Well lit, lots of space, competent people who aren't trying to murder you, etc. And when we need to use our martial arts, it's often none of those things. We're going from me kind of at my worst, verbally, thoughtfully, before pre-coffee, and having to get better in that space. If you work on this, you'll get better at that. If you work on training in a phone booth size space, you'll get better there too. What you work on, you get better at. So don't be afraid to work on stuff in non-ideal situations. I guess that's the main lesson here. All right. So I'm assuming he's going to watch this later. See, this is another great use of First Cup. Andrew, let me know if you're good with us rolling a First Cup on Saturday into free training day. I think that would be fun. And honestly, we could do that. We might be able to do that at the other two as well. Gabe and Jenny, if you see this, let me know if you want to do that. Justin, you too. I'm open. I'm willing to do it. So, all right. Thank you, everyone, for coming by. I will be sending out an email soon, but the fall items that I showed you 2 weeks ago, those are available on whistlekick.com now. You can use the code FIRSTCUP15 to save 15% on the shirt or the sweatshirts or the hat or the jacket or the slides. I got a bunch of compliments on the jacket this weekend. There's something about a denim jacket. If you live in if you're very brave, you can get the white one. If your wardrobe is not entirely blue jeans, you can get the blue one. Mine is, so I got the black one. Because a blue denim jacket with blue denim jeans, that's a tough look to pull off. I can't do that. We've also got the family page, whistlekick.com/family. Did not get updated yesterday because I was smoked. And so it'll happen at some point. But if you don't check it weekly, there are things you're missing. Check it weekly. I've even got a date and time at the top for when it was last updated. So you can just go, nope. If you set a schedule on your calendar for when to check it, you won't miss anything. Okay. And then, of course, we've got the Patreon. Patreon.com/whistlekick. Remember, a week from Thursday, October 6th, we've got our next live Patreon-only hangout. And there's also all kinds of things going in there. Jenny, you're home, so I'm going to ask you for this. Can you send over Word document for the Master Hopkick special edition, please? Because that's out. Those of you who didn't know, that is out. And we've got to put that in Patreon for those in the tier that get drafts of books. In this case, it's a final draft, but free books. You just have to read them on your computer. Remember, First Cup is the only martial arts morning show live weekdays, 6:30 a.m. U.S. Eastern Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Oh, look at all those comments that rolled in that I missed. Dennis says, for me, one of the best examples of why First Cup is so great. I met Jenny in person for the very first time on Sunday, but honestly, it felt more like just seeing an old friend once again. And Jenny responds with a bunch of very happy emojis, teary face, heart face, punch. Take care to you. All right, everyone. I hope you have a great day. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being part of my morning. Really does mean a lot. And I'll see you back here tomorrow. Peace.